My knees go weak. What's happening to me? In the dark, can you tell me what it means? I lay my head on my pillow, staring out the window. Trying to stop for.
Okay, hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is Dane with the Vibrant Light. Okay, and this is just a vlog. I want to just update you guys on my move, my life update. Haven't posted a life update in a few weeks, and so I just kind of want to let you guys know how my move has been going in Ghana. I saved the camera. Let's focus on the most triggering things, and then we can go from there. Okay, so probably the most traumatizing thing that has happened to me since I've moved to Ghana is the lack of support from American companies. So this was the biggest thing that I've dealt with since moving out here, and so I thought that I would share for those of you who maybe don't know. This is something to consider. When I moved out here, before I even moved out here, I've been traveling out here obviously for the last 2 years, back and forth, and I've always let my bank know every time I traveled. I never got any type of notice from them like, hey, we don't really like people who travel to Africa because you guys are high risk. Never really got that conversation. So I have been banking with Bank of America for 20 years almost, and never had any issues, never filed fraud, never had any real issues. I have been a loyal client of Bank of America since I was probably 10 years old. And literally, they kept locking my card. Basically, the reason why was because I was using a third-party app called Sendwave. Sendwave is like a cash app, but yeah, it's cheaper that way to use those third parties because of the international fees. I mean, like every time I get paid, which I'm still getting paid in American dollars, it's just ridiculous amount of fees, depending on how much you get paid, right? They take like almost 4% out to transfer it internationally. So to avoid those fees, I just decided, okay, I will just use this third-party app to send money to my Moomoo account, right? Which is like the Cash App system that they use here, but it's bigger than Cash App because literally everybody uses it. You can pay your bills with it. It's like a Zelle or a Cash App. And so you can send this money and it will go directly to my Moomoo account. And I was doing that. I was trying to be very careful about how I was doing it, making sure that I wasn't sending money like every day, and I was also using a VPN because I was told that the VPN would also protect me. Now, I didn't realize that. I thought the protection was along the side of like scammers can't get to me easily because I'm not on their network. But no, it was actually to protect me against the West, right? And them blocking me potentially if they find out that I'm in Africa. And so if you notice, maybe like if you are living here temporarily, right, you will notice like you still have access to certain websites like AT&T. But after a while, when they see that you keep logging in from this Ghana server or proxy as they call it, they will literally block you. So like right now, although I have a bill with AT&T, I cannot log into the AT&T app. I cannot go from my Google from my computer internet to an AT&T store. Certain websites that like our government official websites, I cannot log in under this Ghana proxy or VPN or IP address. I'm not really for sure what all the terminology is around it, but it's techie shit. And you really want to block them from being able to see that you are in another country, because due to the amount of fraud that is done in the continent of Africa, they really don't want to have anything to do, and they don't want anybody logging onto their servers or anything from this country or this continent. So literally, at the time, I had no idea what was going on. They blocked my card after I tried to make my little payment through Sendwave, and I said, oh shit, let me call them again, like I have been calling them since I got here. I told them, I said, listen, I'm living in Ghana. I'll be here for a year. I'm coming back. And they said, oh, ma'am, that's fine. That's fine. Sorry. So literally a day later, I log into my app and my account says $0. And I'm like, what the hell? Like what? You know? So I look at it and call them, and they said, ma'am, we're closing your account. And I'm like, what? I literally start shaking, bawling. I mean, that's like the worst thing you want to hear, right? It's like you're in another country and you have no access to cash on hand, right? Like that's like the worst thing you can hear, especially being that my money has been tied up with Bank of America for so long. Like literally all of my bills are connected to that account. Anyways, I'm literally like bawling on the phone, crying, like, what am I to do? Like, I'm a single mom living in Africa. Like, what am I gonna do? And the lady was just like, there's nothing we can do. Bank of America just decided they no longer want to bank with you. You are considered a high-risk client. And I said, well, what does that mean? Ma'am, because you are living in Accra, which is like really hot right now for fraud, and you are considered high risk. Even if like they could feel like maybe somebody will get a hold of my account and do like major damage, or maybe they feel like I may be down with the shit. I have no clue. But yeah, that's what happened. And they said, well, we'll issue you a check in 3 to 5 business days. And I'm just like, but how am I gonna freaking get it, you know? So that was traumatic, because that's when it really dawned on me that, yeah, you know, in the West, they are very protective, I guess, of their resources, even though everybody comes to Africa and steals Africa resources. So, I mean, I can go on and on about that, but that was a very traumatic experience, and it just made me feel like, wow, one, don't ever put all your money in the bank. Two, you know, like, wow, they really discriminate and were prejudiced towards me, because if I lived in Europe, that wouldn't happen. And let's be clear, everyone scams. It's not just Africans, you know. So I was just a little disappointed about that. Then another culture shock would be the markets. So I thought at some point I was gonna be more comfortable with going to the market. I have yet to go to a market by myself. My husband, he knows me. He knows like I have like a little bit of anxiety when I'm around a lot of people and stuff. And even though I feel really safe in Ghana, I think what makes me feel unsafe about Ghana is the traffic, um, the potential to get like sick. I also got really sick. I got two different sicknesses since I've been out here. It's been 2 months. I had like a really bad head cold. And thank God for my mother-in-law. She came through and really like gave me a nice herbal bath and took care of me, and I felt so good. My husband took care of me, my daughter took care of me. So that ended up only lasting about 3 days before I was like jumping around again. And then I had got an allergic reaction. I want to say it was an allergic reaction because at first I thought it was the pink eye. But I think it was an allergic reaction now that I think about it. I had ate some beans in a can, and I remember I told my husband like right after I ate the beans, I was like, these beans were good as hell, but I'm feeling itchy. And he's like, oh God, like here goes the girl who needs to live in a bubble, because like I always get like hives sometimes. I mean, I love the food, I love the cuisine, but I have to be honest, like sometimes like I just have really bad allergic reactions to the food. Which is kind of normal for me because I always have bad allergic reactions in the States as well. And so I literally was like laying in a bed and I said, my eye feels funny. Like it's feeling heavy. Why is my eye feeling heavy? Like it's sore. It's like throbbing. And sure enough, I woke up and my eye was like swollen shut, had all of like this juice and crust, and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with my eye? I'm like crying. Like, why do I keep getting these sicknesses? And he's like, it's fine, it's fine, and we'll get you some eye drops. And I ended up getting the eye drops, and I was fine. So yeah, I'm very like particular about being in big crowds, um, because it's just such a high risk chance for like getting sick. You know, like everybody's like coughing, and it just made me honestly look at my produce so differently, because I do love the markets because it's way affordable, right? Like, how are you going to move to another country and not live like a local so that you can save a buck, right? So I love the affordability of the market. However, like when you really see how they manage those foods, it makes you want to like really clean your shit. Well, and I think in the States, or when you shop at the supermarket, you're just so used to like, you know, rinsing it off one time or two, 3 times, and you're like, oh, it's clean. Meanwhile, like in Ghana, like I'm using vinegar, I'm using salt, I'm like washing it like 3 times, like I'm really washing it. And every time you wash it, you see all this dirt, and it's just so gross. And I'm just like, and then when you're there, they're like coughing over it, they're like picking their nose, they're like doing all these nasty things over your food, and you're just like, ah. So it's interesting. So that's kind of why I'm like, markets, I wish we can like, and we could hire somebody to do it, but once again, I'm like, Donna, you really like, I have a hard time paying for stuff like that, like stuff that I really know that I can do. I just try to psych my mind. But I have to say, though, that is still like a huge culture shock for me. On top of the fact that like, because I am American, I have a target on my back as it pertains to like, you know, like they think that they can overcharge me. And so at this point, I'm gonna learn how to speak tree, you know. But my husband taught me a few things. So pretty much instead of like just saying, hey, how much does this cost, right? Because that's like how they get away with it. They don't price their things. So they get to charge you like whatever they want. And before, my naive, but I would just be like, oh, how much is this? And they'd be like, 80 CDs. And I'm like, 80 CDs? And, 9 times out of 10, I don't really know, I'm like, oh, that's normal. That's what we pay in the States. And my husband's like, no, that's way too much. So he's actually taught me how to negotiate with these women in the marketplace. And pretty much what you have to do is you have to say, like, mommy, a 5 CD tomato. You tell her the price point that you want, and then she will decide, like, okay, it's all about being confident in the market. And I'm still like working on my confidence, just because I know I look so different. I have tattoos, like I have locks. I look just like stick out, like American, Black American. She's here, let's cha-ching. So my confidence is kind of already low when we get to the negotiation part, but I'm working on it. And I'm actually dedicating myself to learning how to speak Tree. It's kind of confusing because my husband is Airway, and so like he's teaching me Airway, I'm learning Tree. I get confused. I'm just like, honey, it's gonna be a mixture of everything by the time I'm done, but I got a few words like Etison, Aye, Madase, Akbelo, just simple things like, hey, how are you? Thank you. My daughter actually knows more Tree than me, which she's supposed to be teaching me. She actually takes Tree at school, and she loves the language. She's so excited to learn that stuff. So yeah, I could ramble on and on. I might have to do a part 2 about culture shocks in Ghana because this video is getting a little long. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Subscribe though. Subscribe for more, okay? Peace.
My knees go weak. What's happening to me in the dark? Can you tell me what it means? I lay my head on my pillow, staring out the window, trying to stop for